What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Untitled Game Show. My name's AJ Gels. How y'all doing? We are back once more with the weekly show. Yes, I know I'm late, as I always say. Go give me a follow over on Twitter. I will always keep you guys updated if I'm ever going to delay the show a day. Today I did it just for scheduling reasons with my work schedule and everything. I usually don't work Sundays, but the last month and a half or so, I've been scheduled on a lot of Sundays. So like I said, I've just been moving shit around. So, sorry about the weird confusion. Like I said, follow me on Twitter. It's the best place to stay updated on whether I'm not uploading, here's why, whether I'm moving the show back, here's why, etc., etc., etc. So, on to the big piece of news today. Cyberpunk. The multiplayer is most likely coming in 2022, and I know I'm trying to make a joke, even though I put the actual big news for Cyberpunk in the description, or actually in the title of the video. Yes, we will be talking about that today. It's sad news, but what the hell can you do? I really don't have a whole lot to say on it. I think it's only the best for it. I trust Cyberpunk Project Red. I trust CD Projekt almost implicitly, but I'll get more into it when we actually look at the tweets that CD Projekt sent out. Anything else that we're covering today? So we're covering Sony not being at E3 this year. A big shock that they're not going to be at E3 this year. Apparently somebody dropped a whole bunch of leaked a whole bunch of upcoming Sony information that's now being given a little bit more credence now that Sony has officially changed their slogan from, the place to, or best place to play to time to play. I think that's what it was. It was a minor change, but it gives credence to a thing. We'll get into that. We have word on new Fire Emblem DLC that's on the way. And something I caught literally right before I started the show, we have a delay to Dying Light 2, which was originally, I think, set for March, although I think it's trying to get the hell out of that month. All that, and maybe another article or two. I'm trying to remember what all I have loaded up. I had so many like small articles that you could barely read anything on my tab bar, and then I realized I should probably cut this down because it's so many of those articles are going to go, well, that happened. What do you guys think? I think it's cool, or I think it's bad, or it was pointless. Either way, if you're a typical watcher of the show, you know my process. If you're new to the show, we read articles, watch videos, and everything like that. We hang out. We have some good fun. I give my opinions on stuff. I ask you guys to tell me what you think about any article or any of that down in the comments below. Actually, real quick, Aki to Touchdown, he suggested that I check something out, some trailer of something, and I can't remember what it was off the top of my head. I don't have it loaded up for the show. Dude, send it to me on Twitter, and I will put it on next week's. So, and by the way, if any of you guys ever have article suggestions, video suggestions, anything like that, even if it's something a little old or whatever that you just say, hey, you might have missed X. What are your opinions on X? Send me links in the comments or over on social media that are linked in the description, and I will take a look at them and give you my thoughts. Other than that, timestamps and article links are all in the description. I think that's just about everything. Holy shit. Granted, this intro went on for about 3.5 minutes, but still one of my shorter intros. Maybe I'm talking really fast. I'm sorry, I'm very caffeinated. Either way, first article of the day. No, not about the delay. It's actually that Cyberpunk 2077's multiplayer will most likely not be coming out until 2020. Article by Liam Croft of Push Square. I mean, this isn't really surprising that this is also a super short article. Because we've known that Cyberpunk's multiplayer was really being worked on almost as a separate project. Is almost a completely separate game from the single player Cyberpunk 2077, which is I'm really curious to see God, I keep trying to say Cyber Project Red or something. I'm so curious to see what CD Projekt is going to do with the multiplayer for this game, because really, I've not seen them do multiplayer games. I'm really curious to see what's going to happen, but let's actually take a look here. The article reads, we've only just started the new decade and we're already talking about games that won't release until we're a quarter of the way through the next 10 years. Cyberpunk 2077 has been delayed to September 2020, but you'll be waiting a lot longer if you're hotly anticipating its multiplayer mode. Developer CD Projekt Red has revealed that a launch next year is highly unlikely, making 2022 a much more realistic target for the game's online offerings. Michael something Polish, I'm not going to take a shot. Nowakowski? I hope that's right. I mean, no disrespect to the man. You know what I mean. CD Projekt Red's member board said, and I quote, given the expected release of Cyberpunk 2077 in September, and speaking of a series of events we expect to occur after that date, 2021 appears unlikely as a release date for the Cyberpunk multiplayer. End quote. It also confirmed that the mystery AAA title the studio has been working on in secret is actually Cyberpunk 2077's multiplayer mode. We apologize, fans of The Witcher, but it looks like you'll be waiting much longer for Geralt of Rivia before Geralt of Rivia makes his triumphant return. Are you interested in Cyberpunk 2077's multiplayer mode? Make an online decision. Blah 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 blah. Am I interested in it? Yes. Do I really want to play it? Not particularly. I mean, particularly? I can't say that word. If you guys know me, I always say this. I'm not a multiplayer guy. Now, look, I'll play Apex. I'll play some multiplayer stuff in my free time, but I just do it. I'll play 2-3 matches. If I'm like, I'm kind of tired and I'm not ready to go to bed just yet, okay, I'll play a couple matches of Apex at like 4 in the morning. Or I'll play this just for an hour or something. That's what I use multiplayer for. I just use it to kill some time when I don't really have time to really dive into a bigger game. That's what multiplayer is for me. It's a nice little distraction. At the end of the day, though, I don't give a shit. It's why I stopped playing League of Legends. It's because people were kind of just started yelling at me in chat, going, "What the hell? You suck! You suck! You suck! Stop playing! You suck!" I'm just like, okay, I don't need this. I'm just here to goof around for an hour. I don't care. So like I said, interested in Cyberpunk 2077's multiplayer? Yeah, I'm curious to see what it's going to be. I'm going to guess it's going to be more co-op than it's going to be like PvP. Which could be interesting if they do some with some co-op stuff for a game like this. But I don't know. End of the day, it's more of a fascination than I actually really want to play it. Is it also surprising that the mystery AAA title the studio was working on, granted I was hoping it was something in the Witcher property, it's not surprising it's the Cyberpunk 2077 multiplayer, seeing that the multiplayer, we've known the multiplayer is really going to be basically a game in and of itself, almost separate from 2077, so not surprising. Although, honestly, I disagree with the writer here. I really highly doubt the next Witcher game will star Geralt of Rivia. I'm not saying he won't be a part of it, but I think there's so many tales that you could do in The Witcher. You can actually break away from Sapkowski's novels and do your own thing with them. Granted, the entire trilogy of Witcher games is technically broken away from Sapkowski's novel because they're based on his novels in the fact that they're technically a sequel series because they take place after the last novel, I do believe. But yeah, I think that we've met so many characters that it would be really interesting to play as. I mean, hell, I'd actually play a Witcher game where you don't play as a Witcher. That maybe you're a soldier. I don't know. Maybe you're like a blue stripe like Vernon Roach. You could be a monster hunter that's not a Witcher. Hell, even if you are a Witcher, I think I've talked with Brian Gade in comments sections in the past of like what we'd like to see out of a Witcher sequel. Personally, I wouldn't want to see playing a Ciri just because, like, the Child of Legend and everything. I just think she's a little too OP for me. I'd like to see a prequel to All the Witcher where you play as Vesemir, like a young Vesemir, and see his story. I think that would be a lot of fun. Maybe, like building the wolf school of the Witchers and everything. You could even almost have crap. I always go when I describe something like this. I always go to Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, kind of like bringing in people to train them up to almost like a Witcher school managing segment of the game where you have these like Witchers and you're kind of like sending them out on little adventures. Although I guess that doesn't work because Witchers don't really function like that. They act almost independently, and their schools are almost kind of like they return there for the winter and kind of share experiences, whatnot. But I don't know. I still think you could do it in a way that would make it work. But either way, I'm speculating on something that's not Cyberpunk. I've pretty much made my thoughts clear. Let's move on to the actual announcement of the delay. All right, guys. Here's the actual announcement from CD Projekt, from the co-founders and the head of the studios, of the game's announcement for the delay. The I'll just read the whole thing here. We have important news regarding Cyberpunk 2077's release date we'd like to share with you today. Cyberpunk 2077 won't make the April release window, and we're moving the launch to September 17th, 2020. We are currently at a stage where the game is complete and playable, but there's still work to be done. Night City is massive, full of stories, content, and places to visit, but due to the sheer scale and complexity of it all, we need more time to finish playtesting, fixing, and polishing. We want Cyberpunk 2077 to be our crowning achievement for this generation, and postponing launch will give us the precious months we need to make the game perfect. Expect more regular updates on progress as we get closer to the new release date. We're looking forward to seeing you in Night City. Thank you for your ongoing support. Okay, you know, a lot of times people see delays as things that are as bad things, you know, or oh gosh, the studio's in trouble. Not with CD Projekt. No, I think that I think they're very transparent. I think, two, this is a company that has so much fan support that they don't have to worry about it. That if they say, look, we're holding the game back, it's playable, but we want to make sure that it is the best quality for our players. And I know how shocking is it. I mentioned this in an opinion video I did yesterday, that, you know, probably the best way, you know, the best way for companies to make money is by keeping us happy, but at the same time, they're going to keep doing stuff that, you know, people complain about because people still buy those things. At the end of the day, it's the money that matters, not the opinions. But CD Projekt is able to do both. They're able to make money, and they're able to keep us happy because it's, like I said, they're transparent. They interact with the fans. They release such great fucking content. I mean, the fact that they're trying to make Cyberpunk be their crowning achievement for the generation. The Witcher 3 came out in this generation, damn it. Hell, The Witcher 3 came out 5 years ago now. Wow, that's a long time. It's hard to believe it's been 5 years. I mean, and I still look at that game and think it looks better than some stuff that comes out now. Hell, it's better than a lot of that's probably one of the best games of this generation was The Witcher 3, and they're trying to one up it. I have no doubt in my mind that CD Projekt is trying to create something here for us that's going to be special. It's going to be great. And it's like I said, I don't see this as a bad thing. I don't think anybody really would say, well, other than the fact that we don't get to play it in a couple months. No, we have to wait till September. But let's be honest. Look at the entire minefield that is March of just great games that we get to play. There's DLCs for already released games coming out until then. We have The Last of Us in April. So we've got plenty of stuff to keep us, you know, kind of like tied over. Even though I'm still kind of sitting here getting itchy now that I'm sitting here like thinking about Cyberpunk 2077. But yeah, I really don't think this is a bad thing. I think this is good. If they're telling me that, hey, we need time to finish all this stuff, I say give them the time, let them work. That's my take on it. I trust them. Maybe you could say it's a bad thing that I trust them this much, but I really do. I think CD Projekt has earned that trust. That's the way to put it. All right, guys, on to our final Cyberpunk article here. After that cut, I'll try and speak a little slower. I think I've been speaking just way too fast. I'm sorry. I have a bad habit of doing that, especially, you know, when I'm actually like, I've got energy today. If you can't tell, I'm actually awake. Rare thing for me. Let's see here. There are no current plans for a PS5, Xbox Series X versions of Cyberpunk 2077, says CD Projekt Red. This article is on GameSpot by Jordan Remake. I'm going with Remake. Cyberpunk 2077 has been delayed, but the game is still only scheduled for release for Xbox One, PS4, PC, and Google Stadia. Please, can we just stop writing Google Stadia? Can we just ignore that that's a thing? Most other people have. Sorry, I had to get my shot in. Even though the new launch date is much closer to the scheduled release date, or release window, for both Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, CD Projekt Red has revealed that there are no current plans to develop Cyberpunk 2077 as a cross-generation game. Quote, as of right now, Cyberpunk is heading for PS4, Xbox One, and the PC. Nothing has changed in regards to those plans, unquote. CD Projekt Red CFO, I'm not even going to take a shot at that name, said on a teleconference call held to address questions about the new release date. See, it really annoys me how he wrote that sentence I'm sorry, I'm gonna get a little journalism, like a little journalism kind of nerd here, but I mean, I know it's one of those. I was always taught no when it's something that my professors. And anybody who's edited my work when I was writing journalistically had always told me you put said right after the quote. Here's a quote, said CD Projekt Red CFO, his name, on a teleconference call held to address questions about the new release date. So some people like to try and said this. It's how to put it. It's a cleaner way. It's cleaner and easier to read if it's just said the person, and then you keep going if you want to add the extra information like about the teleconference call. That it's just the easiest way to do it. Not the title the person said on a it's a little choppier, it's a little weirder. I know. It's a weird thing for me to bring up in this video. It's just like I said, I studied this shit for a few years and it's weird to me. What the hell was I talking about? Sorry. I'll get back into what we're actually here to discuss. Cyberpunk 2077. Honestly, I'm a little surprised that we're not going to see it be re-released on PS5 and Xbox Series X. I mean, I never figured. I didn't think that they were going to drop like 2 versions of it at once, but I honestly thought that we'd see a re-release. I mean, maybe we'll see like a Game of the Year version with all the DLCs and everything on next-gen hardware, but honestly, that's a little surprising to me that at the moment they're not even planning to do that. I figured they would. Let's see here. Quote, we are going with the same plans that we set. CD Projekt Red joint CEO Adam Kiznitzky, I believe is how that's pronounced, reiterated. Cyberpunk 2077 was always... And see, again, you don't use reiterated or anything like that. No, it's just said. Said the person. And I know some people would say, well, AJ, wouldn't just the quote, said the person... whatever, wouldn't that just keep getting stale? Yes, but again, it's easier. It's so much easier to read. And I know this sounds like I'm trying to insult people, and I'm not. This is honestly what my professors have said. Don't try and get too fancy with your vocabulary or anything. Just said the person. Everyone understands it. It's the easiest thing to read. It flows perfectly. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. That's what I'm saying. I'm sorry. I promise. Last weird journalism break there. What was I saying? Continuing the quote. Cyberpunk 2077 was always designated for PS4 and Xbox One. We are thinking about the next generation, but for now we are focused on the current generation. That plan is still valid. That's all right. End quote. Excuse me. That said, in a previous financial report, according to WCCF Tech, Kiznitzky said, you don't put a quote. I'm sorry. This just is really pissing me off. And I get it. It goes down to publication. It's like I said, I went to college for this shit, and it bothers me. Just because I was always told never to sue, never to do this person said, then the quote. It's always you put attribution after the quote. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to do it. It's one of those things that I see way more now after school. Just sorry. Words, quotes. If there is an opportunity for us to launch Cyberpunk for another generation, we would want to do this probably. End quote. So there's still a fairly strong possibility of Xbox Series X and PS5 versions of Cyberpunk 2077 being made, even if there are no plans to do so right now. See, I don't think that's what he said. I think that's a misinterpretation. I don't say it's a fairly strong possibility. I think what he's saying is it's not out of the question, but again, it comes down to interpretation. CD Projekt Red isn't worried that it is releasing the game when newer, more powerful consoles are available, even during one of the busiest times of the year for game launches. Quote, we believe that our game, a big single-player RPG with a great story, will find its place in the market regardless of the date. CD Projekt Red board member of SVP Business Development, Michael Nowakowski, said. And again, I don't know. Maybe it's just the way GameSpot writes. It's just, it bugs me. I'm sorry. Last 2 paragraphs, I'll get up, I'll step away, and I'll try and stop criticizing the actual writing. Quote, there's always something happening no matter what time of the year you're looking at. The games industry is not an industry where you can say that any given month is safer for whatever reason. So in that regard, we don't see September as more threatening than April or June. I can't pronounce that name. Though obviously no scheduled release date for a video game is set in stone, CD Projekt Red is confident that Cyberpunk 2077 will hit its new release date and not be delayed again. Quote, yeah, we pretty much know and understand what aspects of the game still require work, end quote, that guy said. Again, really irritates me. And look, and if anybody wants to say, oh, well, there's no right way, you're correct. There is no right way. It's just, it's what I've been taught. I'm telling you guys what I've been taught. And it's one of those things that I see and I can't unsee it, and it frustrates me in a way, because I agree with the fact that I think said the person, you have quote, said, attribute the quote, you can put their position ahead of their name, like CD Projekt Red CFO, like right here, Pieter, I have no idea how to pronounce that, whatever, and that it's said, position, person, on a teleconference call, and I'm using this sentence here as kind of my example here. It's just I think it flows so much better. It's sorry, I'm done. I'm gonna take a quick break. All right, I took my break, got out of my weird journalism mode, whatever. Yeah, I know, guys. Before anyone says, yeah, I'm a nerd. You can find me in real life. I don't know. Take my lunch money, give me a wedgie. I deserve it. After that, next article on Polygon. I know I haven't read an article on this site for a long ass time. PlayStation is skipping E3 2020 again, to the shock of no one. Let's see, Michael McWhirter, like I said, of Polygon. The article reads, for the second year in a row, Sony Interactive Entertainment is skipping E3, North America's marquee video game expo. Not anymore, which is organized by the Entertainment Software Association. I mean, let's be honest, it's not what it used to be. I was holding out hope that it could still be good, and then last year's just sucked. Last year's E3 was boring as watching paint dry. It was not an enjoyable show. Look, maybe there were enjoyable moments, but as a whole, the show just was not really anything to write home about. And again, I'm speaking in my opinion. If you disagree, you disagree, but that's my opinion. In a statement to Polygon, a Sony spokesperson said, quote, after thorough evaluation, SIE has decided not to participate in E3 2020. We have great respect for the ESA as an organization, but we do not feel the vision of E3 2020 is the right venue for what we are focused on this year. We will build upon our global event strategy in 2020 by participating in hundreds of consumer events across the globe. Our focus is on making sure fans feel part of the PlayStation family and have access to play their favorite content. We have a fantastic lineup of titles coming to PlayStation 4, and with the upcoming launch of PlayStation 5, we are truly looking forward to a year of celebration with our fans, end quote. The news was first reported by GamesIndustry.biz. Sony opted not to attend E3 2019. It did not have a booth on the E3 show floor, nor did the company hold its annual pre-E3 press conference, which had in recent years become a playlist of trailers with a few onstage appearances from PlayStation executives or game developers. At the time, Sony said it was, quote, exploring new and familiar ways to engage our community in 2019, end quote, which basically means Sony rips off Nintendo Direct. It's what state of play. It's what the next paragraph is. We're skipping that paragraph. The ESA represents the interest of games publishers and largely funded by revenues gained from E3. Following Sony's announcement, the trade body issued an announcement, quote, E3 is a signature event, not anymore, celebrating the video game industry and showcasing the people, brands, and innovations redefining entertainment loved by billions of people around the world. E3 2020 will be an exciting high-energy show featuring new experiences, partners, exhibitor spaces, marketing plans, activations, and programming that will blah, blah, blah. Veteran attendees, new and veteran attendees alike. Exhibitor interest in our new attractions is gaining attendance, perhaps, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. Because you're not giving me anything specific. It's pretty much the article. No, I mean, like I said, who the hell's surprised that PlayStation is skipping? From everything that we've been hearing, there's a lot of rumors that the official PlayStation 5 reveal is going to be sometime next month. I think we're about 3 or so weeks away, according to somebody on the God of War team or a developer at Sony. I think that there's somebody who's been saying that Sony's also preparing a big studio acquisition. They're preparing to announce a big studio acquisition. So Sony's got a lot of stuff in the works. They're doing tons. We were already saying, I think they're doing something in New York right now. Now that I think about it. But yeah, so this is one of those that I think E3 is the one who needs Sony, not the other way around. Kind of staying on the same vein of information here, the PS5 slogan change gives weight to massive next-gen leak, article Robert Ramsey, Push Square. PlayStation appears to be in the process of changing its company slogan over the course of this generation. It's mainly gone from for the players, or hashtag for the players at points, as well as best place to play. But if you take a look at PlayStation Europe's Twitter profile, as pointed out by Twitter user at Videotech _ it now says, quote, "It's time to play." Now there's a chance that this could just be a part of a fresh look for the social media account, but the way that it leads the rest of the text makes it seem more important than that. We could well be looking at the PlayStation 5 slogan. And this is where it gets juicy. There was a massive PS5 leak posted to 4chan. This link contains some strong language. 1 week ago, at the time of writing this article, we didn't report on it because, well, it's 4chan. I understand that, kind of. Supposed rumors and leaks are always being posted by anonymous sources, and the vast majority turn out to have no bearing on reality. Like I said, yeah, I get it. However, this leak states that PlayStation 5's new slogan for the PS5 will be "It's time to play." Either this poster made a really lucky guess, or there's actually some truth to the leak. The post features a long list of PS5 details. We've broken down the main points below. PS5 reveal event set 5th February 2020, which wouldn't be out of line from some of the stuff we've been hearing. PlayStation release date is in October 2020. Again, we've been hearing something about that. PS5 price is $499, or that much European money. Only one model. Again, not out there. PS5 launch games include Gran Turismo 7, MLB The Show 2021, Demon's Souls Remastered, Godfall, Legends, new IP from Sony Santa Monica. Again, not out there. Games teased the PS5 reveal. Horizon Zero Dawn sequel, Marvel Spider-Man sequel, new sci-fi IP from Naughty Dog. Interesting. New IP from SIE Japan, new IP from London Studio, Final Fantasy 16? Yeah, that's XVI. Sorry, I'm terrible with Roman numerals. And new Resident Evil. PS5 specs almost on par with Xbox Series X. Leak claims Series X is more expensive, PS5 more powerful than cheaper Xbox Lockhart. PS5 slogan is "It's time to play." See, that's interesting. That's almost on par with the Series X, because from some of the leaks that we've heard, that the PS5 is actually going to be well below the Xbox Series X in terms of power. Not that that means much. I've gone into it plenty of times why I don't really care. I still think PlayStation had the advantage, but if they're closer to what it is and Series X ends up being more expensive, or even price matches, I still think PS5 wins. Some of this sounds feasible, namely the reveal event date, the October release, and the pricing, but there are parts of that leak that throw it into question. Most obvious of all is that the poster says Sony will be at E3 2020 in order to share more information about the PS5. Obviously, that's not right. Since this leak was posted, Sony confirmed that it won't be attending E3 2020. Sony's plans could have changed between then and now, but we highly doubt it. So this is where we're at. The leak seems to be spot on with the part about the PS5 slogan. Just about everything else seems reasonable too, but there are a couple details that simply don't add up. Again, the poster may have just gotten very lucky with the predicted slogan. It's impossible to say right now. All we can do is wait and see whether Sony does announce an event for February 5th. If that's really happening, then you'd expect the company to reveal its plans over the next week or so. What do you make of all this? Could this leak be accurate, or at least partially accurate? Jump to conclusions. I really love this look. I kind of hope this is the PS5. This looks really slick. Now, what do I think about this? I honestly, and I know this is going to be a fence-sitter position. I don't know. I could see this being, all of this being real. I could see some of this being real. I could see, yeah, I'll stick there. I'd say most of this is probably true. Now, whether or not these are all lucky guesses, because I mean, a lot of this stuff you could just kind of guess and be pretty on, pretty close with. So I don't know whether or not the leak is true, but I think a lot of this information will end up being true, if that makes sense. And just a few other Sony things that I've kind of caught wind of, or just kind of reading articles. I think one big one that I didn't include was that apparently the PS5 DualShock will be compatible with PS4, and there's one other one that I can't remember off the top of my head. Again, something about the controller. Go check my Twitter. I retweet articles all the time that I think about using on the show. Generally, I use it kind of like an archive of stuff to, hey, future AJ, you use this, if that makes sense. So go check out my Twitter. I've retweeted a lot of articles and stuff on that. So I think that's just about everything we've got on the Sony news. Let's move on. Okay, on to just the more general stuff. Everything else from now on is pretty much all just one-off articles. Ubisoft apparently wants to avoid its PS5 games playing like copy-pastes. Article Sammy Barker, this is of Push Square. While you can rarely fault the final products, many criticize the building blocks that go into each Ubisoft release. Really fault them? No, I think a lot of their final products now have been shoddy. That's my opinion. The French firm's distinctive approach to open-world design may be effective, but it can be difficult to ignore the similarities that its various series share. Whether it's Assassin's Creed or The Crew, the same underlying design principles are there. See, and I don't mind the fact that they kind of borrow mechanics from each other. I mean, a big one that's pretty obvious, the cultist menu in Assassin's Creed Odyssey was very similar to the way that the Santa Blanca cartel was set up in Ghost Recon Wildlands. I actually liked that. I actually liked that little mini game. Granted, they just completely shat the bed with Breakpoint, but that's beside the point. There are aspects of Ubisoft's design choices that I really do like. It's like I said, I like the fact that they borrow from their other franchises and tweak mechanics so it can work in their other ones. I don't mind that a lot of their games kind of play that Far Cry doesn't play super different from Assassin's Creed, or there's some underlying elements. I don't mind that stuff necessarily. It's the fact that, to me, a lot of the Ubisoft stuff in the last 4 years has really been soulless. And I'm going to be entirely honest. That's just how it's struck me as of late. The Division 2, I think it was a standout. I wish that one had better sales, but I liked the Division 2 personally. I really liked Assassin's Creed Origins. There were parts of Far Cry 5 that I liked. I think it could have been much better, but I liked bits and pieces of it. I'm trying to think anything else from Ubisoft that I've really fallen in love with lately. There are parts of Watch Dogs 2 that I liked. I have my issues with Watch Dogs 2, but I still think that game was above average. It was still good. But yeah, I think Ubisoft's just been on a downward trajectory, and that makes me sad as a former massive Ubisoft fan. These guys were my favorite developer until CD Projekt took that over, because these guys keep shitting the bed in my opinion. But again, I'll just get back into the article here. This has resulted in the company dropping some clangers of late, with sales of Tom Clancy's titles, The Division 2 and Ghost Recon Breakpoint, disappointing. Well, Ghost Recon Breakpoint just sucks. It's not good. And The Division 2, I think, was good. It just... I think people are finally getting tired of these pseudo MMOs on consoles. I'm going to say it. I think people are starting to get tired of it. And ahead of the PlayStation 5's launch this holiday, it's pushed the publisher into making some changes. According to VGC, the organization's editorial team, which consists of 100 designers and producers, is undergoing a revamp. Here's how Ubisoft apparently has been operating behind the scenes. Each studio is assigned a specific project, but the overall direction of the publisher's output is determined by the aforementioned editorial team, as one anonymous source illustrated. Ooh, that's gross. Quote, there were often the ideas of just one or two people getting put into every game. That's why you tended to see such similarity, end quote. And again, there's nothing wrong with that similarity. See, this just strikes me as video game development by committee. I think that's the best way to describe it. It's that so many people are trying, like you said, like there's like 100 people on this team. I think that's maybe where everything's kind of coming out soulless, that it's not passion projects from individual teams. That's, again, listen to, bit my tongue, listen to Ashraf Ismail talk about doing his interviews for Assassin's Creed 4, and then listen to his stuff for Origins. Granted, I thought Origins was good. Listen to the way he talked about AC4, and listen to a lot of the stuff about the development of AC4. It's extremely different. You could tell that was that AC4 was a passion project for Ubisoft Singapore, and I think it showed. It's the reason why, in my opinion, it is the greatest Assassin's Creed game. Funny though that again it was the pirate game that masquerading as an Assassin's Creed game, but we'll ignore that. That was the best one. And again, it's because there wasn't that sort of committee. It was that studio really putting their heart and soul into it. And I think that's something that Ubisoft has been missing as of late. This will now change the multiple vice presidents given a specific franchise to look after, while each of... With multiple vice presidents, okay. While each of the projects will continue to be managed by Chief Creative Officer Sergei Haskoy. I have no idea how to pronounce that. The idea is that each leader will be given more autonomy to make their assigned series their own, resulting in differentiation, there we go, between releases. I like that. And maybe we can finally get the Assassin's Creed modern day story to start making some freaking sense. Sorry. Some of the vice presidents include Child of Light's Patrick Ploward. Again, no clue. Splinter Cell's Maxime Belland. For the love of God, bring back Splinter Cell, who's returned to the publisher after a year at Epic, perhaps increasing anticipation for Sam Fisher's return. Please, dear God. This also sounds like a positive mood for the organization, which has released some great games on PS4, but will benefit from a shakeup to its established output. Yeah, I think I've made my thoughts clear, and yeah, I'm glad they're making the change. Hopefully Ubisoft can come back. I'm still hoping that Legion doesn't suck. Moving on to an article at PC Gamer. Quantic Dream's David Cage teases a lot of surprises for 2020. Article by Fraser Brown. Quantic Dream boss David Cage has kicked off 2020 by teasing the studio's plans for the year. Though, unfortunately, he avoids any specifics, he does promise a lot of surprises for its fans. However, and judging by the tweet, they might have something to do with Detroit Become Human. The tweet reads, "Okay, I'm late, but I want to say Happy New Year. I wish you the best 2020. 2019 has been an amazing year for the studio. 2020 should be even more exciting. We have a lot more surprises to come for our fans, and stay tuned. And in 2020, more than ever, be deviant." Who smells sequel? Detroit launched on PC last year, following its console release in 2018. It's the fifth game the French studio has launched since it started in 1999 with Nomad Soul. Ooh, could we be seeing a re-release? Which I will always love for making David Bowie a character, despite the fact that 2 out of the 3 main Detroit characters are pretty dull. Which ones do you like? See, I actually kind of like them all. If anything, I thought Marcus was the more dull one out of any of them. It started interesting, but by the end, he basically became like just the savior Jesus character. I really liked. Now Marcus is the only one I remember. I liked Kara. Yeah, okay, I could see. Yeah, I'll agree. She was kind of dull. But still, her story had some really neat moments. And why can't I remember my favorite one? I liked the cop one. I thought his story had some of the coolest bits, but whatever. It's a surprisingly compelling, consequence-heavy cinematic adventure, and probably my favorite since Fahrenheit. Melindy Hetfeld wasn't quite as convinced in her Detroit Become Human review. While Cage refers to the game in his tweet, a sequel or some kind of follow-up would be new territory for Quantic Dream. Up until now, all of its games have been standalone, but until last year, most of them had also been PlayStation exclusive, so perhaps there are more changes on the horizon. Well, and also the fact that I believe Quantic Dream said that they are trying to move to developing for multiple platforms. So I don't know. I think a sequel's in the could be in the making. I think that there's more stories that they could tell in the sort of Detroit Become Human world, or maybe go to a different city than Detroit, or I don't know. I think that there's a few things they could do. But as a whole, I really did enjoy it. I really do like Quantic Dream. I loved Detroit, I really, really loved Heavy Rain. Beyond Two Souls, parts I loved about it. I did like bits and pieces of it. I can totally see where some people said it sucked, but I liked where they were trying to go with Beyond Two Souls. I'll put it that way. Or hell, make a Beyond Two Souls sequel, because you were setting something interesting up and just didn't go anywhere. Like I said, I'd maybe like to see a Nomad Soul re-release, see a re-release of Fahrenheit. I think that they could do some cool stuff. So here's hoping that they drop something interesting this year, or a few interesting things this year. I decided to we got one article after this one. I decided to move this one up just because I don't really have a whole hell of a lot to say about it. Just because I think this one's going to be pretty quick. Let's see here. Dying Light 2 has been delayed indefinitely. Article by Alex Avard. Dying Light, the open world action this is on Games Radar, I do believe. Dying Light 2, the open world action sequel from Polish developer Techland, has been delayed indefinitely from its original launch window of spring 2020. In a statement announcing the news, CEO, it was only spring? Huh? I thought they officially made it in March. Either way, in a statement announcing the news, CEO Paweł March, that guy, said, quote, "We were initially aiming for a spring 2020 release with Dying Light 2, but unfortunately we need more development time to fulfill our vision. We will have more details to share in the coming months, and we'll get back to you as soon as we have more information. We apologize for this all and welcome news. Our priority is to deliver an experience that lives up to our own high standards and to the expectations of you, our fans." And the full statement is here. Again, you can follow the link, but we get the gist. This is the fourth title to receive a significant delay at the last minute in recent weeks, after both Final Fantasy VII Remake and Marvel's Avengers were also pushed from their spring 2020. Oh, really? I missed that? Holy shit. They're from their spring 2020 window to allow for more development time and polish, unlike Dying Light 2. However, each of those games received a new release date to provide some cold comfort to balance out the disappointment. I really don't care too much about the Avengers game. That one, But I didn't know the remake got pushed. I'll click on that link and see if I can. We'll look into that. I'm sorry I missed that. Holy shit. On top of that, Cyberpunk 2077 has also received a delay by 5 months to allow the development team extra time to, quote, finish playtesting, fixing, and polishing, end quote. Techland has already confirmed that Dying Light 2 will, however, be releasing on both PS5 and Xbox Series X, but this delay could point to the team focusing on next-gen development rather than current consoles. For now, it's a case of waiting and hearing more from Techland. The indefinite thing is kind of questioned. It makes me wonder what the hell's going on. Although now that he makes that mention at the end of the article, I have a feeling that this might have. And again, this is all speculation. What I'm about to say here, that this was Techland who decided, look, we have the next gen consoles months after this. Let's hold off our release and rework this game with the next gen hardware. So we don't launch at the tail end. Let's get in on the new platforms. That's maybe what I'm guessing. So maybe this isn't, because indefinitely makes it sound like there's big development problems, like there's actual issues with the studio. But now hearing that, maybe this is not as going to be. This is going to be like a year delay or a year and a half delay, so that they can put this thing on the next gen hardware. A guess, and I think that holds some weight, but at this moment, who the hell knows? Give me a second. Let me pull up this article for the Final Fantasy VII Remake. All right, holy shit, this was from a couple days ago. I can't believe I missed this. Final Fantasy VII Remake has been delayed more than a month. Article Steve Watts, January 17th. The Final Fantasy VII Remake for PlayStation 4, this is on GameSpot, by the way. PlayStation 4 has been... There we go. Has been a long time coming, but will now have to wait just a little bit longer. It has been delayed from its March 3rd release date. A note from producer Yoshinori Kitase says that FF7's new release date has been set for April 10th to give the team a little extra time for finishing touches. Quote, "We are making this tough decision in order to give ourselves a few extra weeks to apply final polish to the game and to deliver you with the best possible experience," Kitase said in a message from the studio. Quote, "I, on behalf of the whole team, want to apologize to to everyone, as I know this means waiting for the game just a little bit longer. Thank you for your patience and continued support." End quote. The release of the long-awaited remake is not actually that of the full game. Final Fantasy VII Remake will be released in episodic fashion, dividing the game up into distinct chunks. The initial one consists of the Midgard portion of the original game. Recently, the demo of the game was leaked and data mined, leading to spoilers circulating the internet. We even got to see the opening movie of a nostalgic recreation of the original 1997 classic. Square Enix has not given word regarding when the demo may be released to the public. For more Final Fantasy VII Remake, this is one of the two Square Enix games that's been announced for delays almost simultaneously, and apparently Avengers also got pushed all the way back to September. All right, well, I guess we can say on the one hand, this makes March, this opens up March a little bit for some people. I mean, granted, there's some other cool stuff coming out in March, but it has an interesting delay. I've been also hearing about that. The fact that this game is going to be episodic, I guess, again, for me, that doesn't mean a whole lot, seeing that I never played the original Final Fantasy VII. I know, please bring the hate for that. Again, it was before I really played games. Because, well, yeah, it was PS1 generation. I had an N64. I never had to play PS1. But yeah, I mean, the idea of making it episodic, I'm not sure how that'll work. I'll wait to judge until we play the game, but wow, I can't believe I missed that. So there you go, guys. Fact checking myself, middle of the episode. All right, guys, final article. We'll watch the trailer for this DLC, but I wanted to include this thing here at the end of this video because, man, I love Fire Emblem Three Houses. It was probably one of my favorite games of last year. It was top 5. I'll put it that way. I mean, it's got some stiff competition, but top 5. But Fire Emblem Three Houses DLC adds a new subterranean house. This is the Ashen Wolves. Article by Steve Watts, January 17th of 2020. I don't know why I read the date, but whatever. How many houses are in Fire Emblem Three Houses? 3? It's right there in the name, but a new piece of DLC will add a 4th house because nothing is certain in this topsy-turvy world. A trailer for the Cindered Shadows side story introduces the Ashen Wolves, a group of outcast students secretly living in the Abyss, a dark area below the monastery. The small band of students are eager for a teacher and consider themselves an unofficial 4th house. There's a lot of reaction videos to this. I've not seen the trailer. I've only known that we're finding out about these new students. I love the idea. I'm curious to see if what all it's gonna bring us. Whatever, we'll watch the trailer in a second. Let's get through the article real quick. The Ashen Wolves are composed of Balthus, Happy, Yuri, and Constance. As Balthus explains, quote, "The surface world turned its back on us, and we did the same in return." The trailer appears to show members of the Golden Deer accompanying Byleth when discovering the Ashen Wolves, so it seems likely this side story will add the new faction to your existing campaign rather than replace it. Okay, I've been curious about that. Of how exactly that's going to work. If you see the next Fire Emblem video that was recorded, the part that I actually talked about this DLC was taken before I recorded this video. Existing campaign rather than replace it. Yeah, it's an interesting way of doing that. I've really been curious, like, if there's like 4 students in this, like, is this going to be like a brand new beginning to the game? Like, you declare if you want to teach these guys, so the entrance is gonna, like, how exactly will this 4th house work? So it does look like it is supplemental. Let's see, where was I? This is the final piece of Fire Emblem Three Houses, of the Fire Emblem Three Houses expansion pass, which is available for $25. The other 3 waves included alternate officer outfits for Byleth, more auxiliary battle maps and support items, more quests, the ability to recruit the recurring Fire Emblem character Anna. The Cindered Shadows DLC will be available on February 13th. Really? This is it for the DLC? I feel a little ripped off, not gonna lie. The announcement was made right alongside another big Nintendo reveal for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Don't give a crap. Is joining the 5th DLC character Fighter Pass, new Fire Emblem stage. I don't care about that stuff because it is Smash Brothers. No, like I said, kind of feel a little ripped off because I also thought that we could recruit, the fuck was his name? Yuritsa. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look more into that, because I swear I read somewhere that we could recruit him starting this, and his story just seems to go nowhere. But either way, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I that this is gonna be the last. I don't know. I hope that we see DLC after this, that they try and add some stories or add something to the game. Just because I feel like that the DLC pass, the expansion pass, excuse me, just seemed a little. A lot of the stuff they gave us was tiny cosmetic crap that was just, it's not that good, in all honesty, if you ask me. I don't know. I was expecting actually like a few. Like, now I'm in a bad mood. Like like I love the idea of Cindered Shadows. You know, like I love these like four new characters. We get a new house to play with. We get some cool new stuff. But now the announcement that this is it. This is the final piece of Fire Emblem Three Houses expansion. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm reading that with more finality than it deserves. But let's watch the trailer. Let me get myself happy again. Yeah, like I was saying, I'm not trying to say I'm unhappy with the DLC. The DLC is cool. It's just I figured that they'd try and do more for that expansion pass. You know, like I dropped that cash on it, and it's one real expansion. The rest is just little piddly DLC of here's cosmetic things you can wear, and all the cosmetic changes, in my opinion, kind of blow.
Back then, there were tons of rumors about what goes on below Garreg Mach. Something about tons of passages and houses beneath the town, all inhabited by super shady people. It had a real intimidating name, too. What was it again? I think it was called Abyss? Abyss is home to those who shun the light of day. It is the secret shadow of Garreg Mach.
They think they need a place like this for Garreg Mach to thrive.
Fine. We're the Ashen Wolves. We're the secret fourth house in Abyss. Surface World turned its back on us, and we did the same in return.
The Ashen Wolves are a house in name alone. They are eager students with no teacher to guide them. If you could find it in your heart to take them under your wing, I would be most grateful.
Prepare to face the almighty king of grappling!
No matter what we do, we're all just gonna die in the end anyway.
She's pleasant.
Tremble in fear at my magical might.
We're a unique bunch from all walks of life. Once you get to know us, I'm sure you'll love it here. Don't worry, no one will die. We'll get everyone out safely.
And again, I'm back to being happy. I love the I love the design. The characters are interesting. It looks like we're gonna get a brawler, a few mages, and a swordsman. Yeah, I like the DLC. It's like I said, my only issue with it is that this is the end of the expansion pass, and I feel like the expansion pass for Fire Emblem Three Houses wasn't really worth it. I think you could skip the other three waves and just buy this one, and it's really the best DLC in all honesty. I mean, Anna's cool, but yeah, either way, guys, I think that's about it for the show today. I want to say, as always, thank you so much for watching. Facebook, Twitter, the website, minds.com. Links, that stuff is down in the description below. Like, comment, you're not already. Please subscribe to the channel. Come back next week for the show. Again, drop by any of the Let's Plays. Always happy to talk with you guys about any game in particular, etc., etc., etc. I kind of stalling because I always feel like I have something else to say. I don't think so, so we're going to call it here. Thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, my name's AJ Gell. This is Something Gaming Channel. I'm out.